Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's continue with today's developing story. The Mozambican Constitutional Council has declared Daniel Chapo as the winner of the recent elections. Maputo has seen massive protests due to the disputed 9th October elections. Opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has vowed to intensify demonstrations. Mondlane says the polls were rigged. Dr. Charles Sinkala is an international relations consultant and joins us now for the latest from Mozambique. Dr. Charles, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. Perhaps let's start off here. What is your take on the Constitutional Council declaring Daniel Chapo as the winner of the October 9th elections?
Thank you very much for having me. It's an embarrassment. I did not anticipate that the outcome will be as it has been. And to make matters worse, they have reduced the what was announced earlier from 71% to 65%. That signifies that the judiciary, the independence of judiciary in Mozambique was put to test, and it has failed to attest to it, to show the impartiality in terms of the elections within that country. There's a lot of overwhelming irregularities that has been picked up both from local regional organizations and as well as the international organizations like the European Union and many others who has issued statements that the elections were not free and fair. In fact, we can even see the prolonged civil unrest, the protests from October to now, and this is just an embarrassment. It's contrary to what we saw in Kenya. We expected that there would be a rerun, so that both participants in the electoral system should participate freely to pick up the winner who shall lead that country.
What do you think even informed this ruling from the Constitutional Council, considering, of course, that, these elections have been raised by a number of people saying that they were not free and fair? I mean, you've even raised the issues around electoral bodies who have also cited, some of the irregularities in these elections. How do you think the Constitutional Council got to this result?
I think they went to, they have been influenced by the Frelimo party, which has been in government for more than 49 years, almost 50 years. And I think it's the clinging on to the power and, the instructions from the outgoing President Nyusi, to make sure that the Frelimo takes up the day has influenced the judgment. And I think, as a legal practitioner, that is an embarrassment to a country. Especially that the overwhelming evidence has suggested that they were not free and fair.
And when you look at the situation right now in Mozambique, I mean, post-October 9 election and, the declaration thereof when it comes to the post-election violence we've seen coming out of that country and what we are seeing now, I mean, are you at all surprised by this rebellion from a number of people of Mozambique disputing even, this order from the Constitutional Council?
I think now this also suggests that the disputes and the claim by Mondlane, the second largest party, who claimed that he had 53%, it suggests that his assumption, could be correct. Because now he's even outside the country. I believe he's here in South Africa. He fears to, by the Frelimo party that he will be eliminated, and many other protests that, they won the elections. But, as usual, the liberation movement, they are very hard to dethrone from the political scene. We hope that, even if they have declared Chapo to be the winner, he has to make a government of national unity to bring up opposition political parties and all stakeholders, just like it happened in South Africa. And I think that you shall come a lot of protests that are coming. Of course, already we have seen that more than 130 people has been killed just between October and now.
And what if we don't see stability in Mozambique because of these elections? I mean, with Mondlane continuing to call on his supporters to protest, what will happen? Can we come to a point where we can ultimately see a rerun of the elections, or that's something that can't be entertained at this point in time?
I think it is, the highest concord, if you call it, as compared to South Africa, has decided it will be very difficult for them to, to go and call another for the region to reverse their decision. I think now the power lies onto the region organization, especially neighboring countries such as South Africa, where economic activities has been threatened, especially as you can see, Transnet has been struggling in South Africa to keep up the port in Durban and others, and they've been using largely Mozambique, as an alternative, and that has also been paralyzed because of the closure of the border that side. The regional organization must go beyond calling only the SADC Committee on Politics and Security. They must actually travel to Mozambique and discuss with the leaders in power and as well as all the stakeholders that this is not only affecting the people of Mozambique, but it is threatening the security of the southern region of Africa.
Do we know what is Venancio Mondlane's position following the announcement from the Constitutional Council of Mozambique?
Of course, he mentioned Mbali even before the announcement that he knows how he can predict, rather anticipated that the announcement shall be as it has been announced. He also called to his supporters and political parties and allies that they should continue with the protests, to make sure that the government can listen to the people. This is not a diplomatic way of sorting out issues such as that, especially in a small country such as Mozambique. We have already been seeing a lot of killings in the north regarding of what is happening. Is highly supported, especially from the most of the Catholic Church. The Vatican has already sent a statement in terms of the rerun of the election, so that both the competitors and as well the ruling government, should prove their point as a competition of ideas. We hope to see some normalcy as it is going. Otherwise, we shall see some worse things to happen as it is going forward from today.
And before I let you go, Dr. Charles, what needs to happen now in Mozambique? Earlier on you spoke about a government of national unity and to even go as far as include people of the opposition as they build this new government.
Of course, Mbali, I did mention that. I think at this stage, in terms of democracy on the African continent, we have to adopt what did not work in Zimbabwe when Morgan Tsvangirai as well won the 2005 elections, but subsequently former President Thabo Mbeki went to negotiate with them, and they had the government of national unity where he was appointed the prime minister. And as of course, years fast forward on that, South Africa as well saw the elections of how they went, and they decided to work together. Nothing that beats a country that works together with all stakeholders, especially opposition parties, to be part of the government. And I think that should be the way forward in terms of for them to contain the violence and the killings of the innocent people and the paralyzing of the economic activities in Mozambique.
All right, Dr. Charles, thank you so much for your time and for your analysis in that regard. And that follows that announcement from the Constitutional Council of Mozambique declaring, of course, the Frelimo's Daniel Chapo as the winner of the October 9th presidential elections.